Yeah, I like the position 4 clock. The pos 3 clock, it just seems unnecessary. It really does. Like they basically do the same thing. You know, it's I don't know if you need to take an off lane role and put a
Fnatic's
clock in it.
turn to
You'd
battle.
rather just see the pos 4 clock come out and just, you know, live with that. And I believe it is going to be a pos 4 clock because
Mm.
FBZ is usually the one who's left till the end for his pickup. They do go for the Ricky for now, so Boom Esports, a very powerful pick, and I'd argue it's actually pretty nice into the draft of Fnatic. Uh,
Yeah, it's a silence. You're
10
going to get a lot
seconds
of value
remaining.
from that. The Clinks itself is also not a very tanky hero. Doesn't
5
have natural
seconds
escape
remaining.
morphling struggles when it's silenced up. You would really like to see follow up from that. I think Clockwork and Ricky are going to have to play together a lot. So you get the Cogs battery assault off, throw that smoke screen on top, and it will be a bit of a struggle for the heroes Fnatic has. Ideally, you'd catch more than one, but you will take what you can
Dominating
get with this kind of
battle.
lineup. We have seen Rickies, though, they do take a fair bit of investment from the team. So Boom Esports will have to look to give enough space to that Ricky to get the farm it needs. They're going to have to protect it from that laning phase. It can be a bit rough depending on the matchup. So that's something for Boom to watch out for. Is vulnerable to being bursted down. You
10
can
right.
easily burst
seconds
down the Clinks, but
remaining.
the Clinks can do the same thing to you if you're not.
True.
5 seconds
It
remaining.
isn't like last series, however, where like they don't really have a strong matchup up against the Ricky in lane. Like if we look back at last series and the last game we just watched, it was a Slaughter versus Ricky in the laning phase, and obviously, you know, there wasn't much the Ricky could have done in that matchup. This time around, I don't see much that they can do to slow down this Ricky in the laning phase, unless you do put the Clinks up against him. That could be difficult, obviously, and that may be the case. By the way, it looks like they may actually opt to do that.
Hmm.
But apart from that, I don't see anything else that's really going to slow down that Ricky from getting that early farm and XP and starting to rotate around the map and start making trouble. I guess
Yeah,
only time will tell.
that's
I mean, yes,
that's really the key thing for Fnatic. You know, to make this game plan work, the biggest dent
Dire
in it
team pick.
would be that Ricky if it gets that good start. So you would probably want to lane the Clinks, as you mentioned, up against that Ricky. That's your best bet. Although, again, it's been a while since we've seen Clinks that the performance of that could be a bit middling. We'll find out exactly when it comes in. I'm really not too clear on the lane partnerships. Like Clink's Rubik sounds potent enough, but at the same time, it's also
10
kind of
seconds remaining.
lightweight. I guess you could really apply to harass with Fade Bolt. That could be something
5
that plays a
seconds
big factor
remaining.
there. Ricky, again, not much HP. I'm just really keen to see Fnatic's last pick. I mean, as we mentioned, that could be a Clink support. It would be very odd to last pick your support. So maybe we're being thrown for left field here. A bit of a strange support pick for Fnatic, but how
Fnatic's
often have they
turn to
last picked
battle.
us? Not too often. I think only once or twice.
true. That Rider will be the last pickup from Boom Esports, and no matter how many nerfs this hero gets, it just seems to always be viable. Feels like Batrider's been nerfed like 8 years in a row now. I thought Earth Spirit nerfs were bad. This poor bastard. He just
10
can't. They just can't
seconds
stop
remaining.
making him worse. But still a very good
5
hero.
seconds
Just the
remaining.
kit itself is just so powerful.
Yeah, he still brings you a lot here. That is the additional lockdown that Boom Esports would need. So they will have a way to keep that Void Spirit or the Morphling in place. At the very least, they're going to have that tool on top of their Clockwork Ricky combination and the Chains exposed from the Ember Spirit. This does tell us that Boom Esports could be looking to play fast. I think they'll have to. They don't want to give Savage space. We have seen what Savage can do on his Morphling, just comes online way too fast, is really active in the map. You don't want that possibility there. This is the kind of lineup that Boom Esports look comfy with. Yeah, I've seen them play all of these heroes once before. And I think as long as they play it to their style, this draft can definitely work out for them. You shut down the Morphling, you shut down that Void Spirit to a certain extent. The main focus has to be Morph. But you get that done and you're in a very good spot. We do see Fnatic last pick the Underlord, and it is going to be a support flanks, I suppose. I mean, could be Underlord, but I think you will want him in the lane. So it's going to be the Clinks roaming around, which is actually pretty potent. So it's something I have seen theory crafted a lot in my circles, and they have run it to great effect. You do have a lot of presence with that. We have seen it in a couple of pro games. You do have a lot of presence with that, just the physical damage you can pump out, and the scouting you can get in the jungle is pretty potent. So you have a lot of utility from that. We'll see how far Jabs can push it. He's a fantastic player, of course. I don't doubt that he's going to cause a massive nuisance for the side of Boom.
I mean, the thing is as well, like, you've got Ice 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 on the Underlord. I was talking about no counters towards that Ricky in lane, but that Underlord, he makes it tough to last hit. And if you do
Oh, yeah.
have Jabs there with him, it's going to be impossible. Like,
Hmm.
Dreamercell's going to have the worst time of his life. And we'll switch over to the main game now, as people have had enough of looking at us. Only so much time you can bear with it. I love this draft from Fnatic, John. I do get very afraid for Boom Esports and all this, because it seems like at the very least your Ricky is not going to be able to get anything.
No. It's going to be a super hard lane here for Dreamocell. He's going to have to somehow get a lot of space from his support, so we should see Kezcute really try to step it up, or Hyde try to get him some space. I think you will want the Ancient Apparition with Ricky in this case. So you should see at least Kezcute try to cop the damage, try to cop the harass, but it's never going to be an easy time, especially leave Jabs around. Just not going to be a fun lane. But that's going to be the important thing for Boom. They need a Ricky to come online, just like Fnatic needs their Morphling to come online, but Fnatic has a better answer for the laning of that. We'll see just how much Boom can push with the lineup. I do worry for Boom. We've seen those Rickies just fall so far behind in games. They try to get the farm up, they don't flash farm fast enough, and they just kind of get bursted down. So a lot is hanging on off the back of Dreamocell here.
Dreamercell, he's been performing very well over the last couple of days. We can give him that. It looks like he is already headed down towards that bot lane. So they are going to try and just outright avoid Ice Ice Ice, which is definitely the right play. Like, you can't just go into that lane and be like, yeah, we'll just put up with it. Like, you've got to avoid it the best you can. There'll probably be a lot of lane switching going on in these early stages, just to see if they can manage that lane matchup that they want. It's not like it really gets much easier anyway, because you do still have the Clinks down at the bot lane with the Morphling. So it looks like Jabs is going to be sitting that bot and just keeping support there for Savage. But you'd rather that than the Underlord. The Underlord's just too much.
Definitely. And there is potency with what Boom has. I think you always will have to keep Hyde and FBZ together. So that's a laning combination that you just cannot go without, especially if you do get the early level in Cogs. You go up, trap someone with Cogs and Battery Assault, you delay the Napalm on, fly over with a Fire. That should be a relatively easy way to get that lane done. We'll see whether or not Hyde is going to walk away, because they might just invest in a tri-lane, although the synergy in this tri-lane isn't the strongest. Cogs does kind of play with the AA quite nicely. The EXP distribution is going to be a bit tighter here. Clock and AA do want to hit 6 fast. So it does look like Boom will stick to that tri-lane for now. And if they do maintain that, Kezcute and Hyde won't get the best times to those level 6.
I think FBZ will be okay at least up in the top lane, as Jab's going to get jumped on with the cold feet and the battery assault. He will get frozen, and that will be first blood. So even if you're not planning to run the tri-lane altogether, just getting that first blood on Jab's always going to feel nice for Hyde.
Definitely. Really good blocks coming out from Boom Esports there. Kezcute just managing to keep Jabs in, and that's something they can definitely exploit. Like, the Clinks is great in damage, can kind of dip in and out, but before like level 2, level 3, he's at a pretty weak point that you can bully hard with these two supports, and that's something that Boom has to maintain, because the moment Jabs sits in lane, throws out those searing arrows, Dreamocell is just gonna taking way too much damage.
Yeah, I mean, 30 damage at level 1. Hyde, he's going to try and break the gap here. He doesn't have Cogs yet, but they may have enough. Jabs, he is a very, very soft kind of support. Only 520 HP at level 1, and that's the second time the support Clinks does die. And you know what? If they keep this up, this tri-lane looks good.
Definitely. They are finding a lot of kills to build off of. The Ricky is going to enjoy that. They aren't really stopping Savage, so that's a bit of a plus for Fnatic. Jabs is copying all the ganks, but Savage is allowed to kind of just farm up. So it's a bit of a trade-off. I think that's the best you can hope for when you do have a tri-lane, and as long as Savage doesn't overextend, you should be fine.
Oh, speaking of overextending, Savage has. And they know he doesn't have waveform, battery assault, and yeah, they find the kill. Hyde with his second kill of the game. But third kill for Boom Esports. I was about to say Boom ID, but they're not called that anymore. I mean, keep it up, right? Like, Dreamersaur's farming fine. Savage is dying. God knows Jabs is dying.
This is exactly how you'd want to work this lane out. I think Fnatic should consider maybe switching out the cores. Because Savage is just not going to have a good time. They do drag DJ down, so it's going to be a tri-lane on tri-lane, which should match the aggression. But you're going to be leaving a Batrider against the Underlord. It's going to be a farming lane for both sides. I think FBZ is going to be extremely happy with that result.
I think FBZ even comes out on top, right? Because you just spam sticky napalm. Underlord already has a terrible turn rate as it is. And you just keep doing it. Like, what can Ice do about this?
Not much. Like, the atrophy aura is annoying, but Batrider doesn't care for it. He really doesn't. He goes by a lot of amplification from the napalm and the fireflies to clear out waves. He can dip into the jungle much faster than the Underlord can. So there is that as well for that top lane. So it's going to be a static farming lane that will probably favor F.
Of course, we haven't really looked at the mid lane. Makoto going on to Moon as we speak. The Ember versus Void Spirit, that's a lot of damage from Makoto, but not quite enough to finish him off. Moon will salve up, though. Jabs. Again going down. That's his third death of the game at 3.5 minutes. Still sitting at level 2 on the Clinks, and you know,
they're bleeding out.
I mean, this is the thing, right? With the support Clinks, you can't afford to die that many times if you're going to pick a Clinks. Like, it needs to stay in lane and spam arrows.
Definitely. It needs to try to harass out the enemy laner. It hasn't paid off. Jabs does have level 2. Did opt for Death Pack instead. So he is, he's going to have a lot more HP and damage out. It is a fairly long laning cooldown, though. Once you die, you lose the buff. So every single time he pops that spell and then dies with the buff on, that's just a lot of dead time in the lane.
DJ now going to get jumped on. Cute with the slow, but they're not going to dive tier 1s. Jabs has returned to the lane once again, and he's going to go ahead and start spamming out those searing arrows one more time. Hyde just being so effective on the support clockwork. Cute as well, by the way, already hitting that level 3 mark on the AA, and does go for the level 2 cold feet, which makes enough sense. He's getting so much value out of it right now.
Just
I didn't think I'd be saying this, but I didn't think I'd be saying this, but in terms of last hits, Savage and Dreamersaur are even, though Hyde, he gets lifted up. Fnatic, they want to at least try and secure that bottom bounty rune, and they will get one for their trouble. Looks like FBZ does manage to swipe one away from Ice, which will make it a 2-for-2 bounty rune trade. And things will go on as per normal. Boom ID, or Boom Esports, excuse me, they do have a 1k net worth lead for now.
Yeah, they're not too far behind considering all the kills on the map so far. That's basically down to the fact that the farming rate for both sides are fairly even. You take a look at that last hit for it, and the heroes are kind of lined up evenly. The only big outlier is Savage against Dreamocell. That's it. Everyone else pretty much dead even, I'd say, for the most part. So really tied up evenly on the farm despite all those kills. Neither side really having a huge advantage there. The key thing is that EXP is being starved out. That's about it. So all these early kills haven't quite amounted to anything serious yet, although Ice is applying to FBZ, but that's not going to be enough. Yeah, trying.
It's a Batrider after all. He just sticky napalm, runs away. Firefly going to be popped. He doesn't want to take too much tier 1 tower damage with that Sage creep. Then Hyde actually going to rotate over, so they're going to make full use of it as Ice. He can't even get the Firestorm off, and Hyde... I mean, we're only 6.5 minutes in, but this is just such an effective support clock. Like, it's been so long since I've seen a clockwork be this effective this early.
And this is why both of us prefer that support clock. They just have so much utility to give in the map. They're not going to be needing to soak that lane EXP, and they don't tend to find great farmed lane if the opposing laners are competent anyway. So Hyde is maximizing this pick for Boom. He has found a lot of kills off the map. He's bounced out those lane matchups. 23 Savage loses Courier, so some items flying out are going to be delayed by a minute and a half. he's forced to kind of back off, but this lane for Savage is just so hard. We rarely see Savage get a really hard lane like this. He's still finding last hits, but he's playing on the edge and under a lot of pressure. And Boom is probably one of the few teams that can apply that. So as long as they maintain that pressure and ensure that Savage actually starts to fall behind, then you're going to see a really big return on this investment on the bot lane.
Well, it seems like Savage is just going to try and pick up the Tread's Morbid Mask and just go to the jungle for a bit after this laning phase. Like, there's not really much else he can do. Especially once Boom have those higher levels up. Like, look over to that AA. Kescute's sitting at 4. If they do give him the Tomb for an early level 6, that will give a hell of a lot of kill potential on that Morphling though. Never mind that, FBZ going up at the top lane. Peter Malice going to hold him down, and Moon really setting up for a nice kill onto the Batrider. Now Hyde going to be in trouble, although Conk's pushback is going to deal a fair bit of damage. Hyde is just going to try and run away, but Jabs may try and sneak this kill anyway. You have got Cogs up again. Tranquil's active, and Jabs won't even try for it. So Moon, he didn't have Astral Step anyway, so won't bother. In fact, Hyde, is he going back in? Moon will TP. Hyde won't get in there to cancel. And ultimately, it just ends up in a Batrider kill.
Still pretty big lane for Fnatic.
DJ getting taken out by Makoto. He does Fairy Fire up. Makoto does have the damage with the Flame Guard. And that's going to make it a 1-6 now.
Still fairly even in terms of net worth. 1k advantage for Boom. Not too unexpected considering how many kills they have. Do want to see a bit of a wider lead there. I think you want to mount that more. Mikado under his spot.
Nice Remnant bait. That's one of the things with the Ember, right? You throw a Remnant one way, you run the other way. And, like, what's the enemy going to do? Just sit there and just guess. Guess which one it could be.
They do rotate FBZ down bots. We want to try to start burning out Savage. They have paused the Ricky up top. This is going to pit Primo Cell up against Ice Ice Ice. He doesn't enjoy laning against the Underlord as much as Bat would. So this is a bit of a strange mix-up, but I guess they want to lay it onto Savage a bit more.
Well, Ice 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 only went for 1 level in Atrophy Aura as well, by the way.
Oh, lasso onto Savage.
Not going to be enough. FBZ. Maybe with Hyde, he will have enough. Savage, how do you get out of this? He already waved for. Oh boy. And that's going to be another kill. Boom. Just really giving it to the side of Fnatic in this early game. Is Makoto now going to say hello to Ice Ice Ice, and Ice 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 immediately just going to pop the Dark Rift. It's very important for Fnatic to just make sure they get at least one of those outposts, as Boom Esports had found the other one. Ultimately, it looks like Boom will be able to get more bounty runes anyway, so they get a little bit of an advantage there. Net worth lead, though, is still remaining at 1k, so it's not like Boom Esports have really, you know, gone above and beyond in terms of net worth yet. They are still sitting pretty stable with Fnatic.
Yeah, it's still fairly even in that sense. All these guilds really haven't stopped the other cores from finding that laning farm. You took a look at Savage. He died 2 times. He's still number 2 in net worth, 3.9k, just about 300 behind Mikado's Ember Spirit. So you see, he's still in a fantastic spot here. You would like to see Boom kind of step it up. I'd like keep targeting the guy. They send out the AA ult, doesn't hit. Savage is going to be perfectly fine to keep shoving that top tier 1, which is fairly low already. He might even just take it.
He jumped on here by Makoto mid lane. Chains do latch, but it's only level 1. And Makoto, he won't bother any of the more though. Top lane Hyde, he hooks in and he does find the support. Clinks, Jabs, gonna die. FBZ, however, gets a lasso onto Savage once again. He's already strength morphing and does have waveform, but Kescute, he'll have his ultimate up in 5 seconds. Could be a very dangerous situation as the Ricky is not done. He moves forward again. Savage, he's stuck in the tree line right now. Ice Blast flying through. It's not even necessary. Dreamer Cell on a killing spree on the Ricky, and it's a 1-9.
It's a 1-9, yet somehow the network lead isn't wide enough. It just feels like Fnatic, when they know they're going to lose a hero, they just farm up elsewhere. The other cores know that they're going to have a bit of a free time. And Boom has kind of sacrificed some of that laning farm from this aggression. So they are still winning out. Sure, 1-9. 1k advantage is to Boom. You want them to widen that, because as long as it's even, Fnatic's still going to be very comfy. They know they're going to take a little bit more time with 23 Savage. They know that Morphling is going to take a lot more time investment. But if they're not behind, then they're really just not worried. It's their game to take slow.
Why so Sice? He does manage to find the bot tier 1 tower, so there's that. The mid lane, Moon, he cops an Ice Blast from Makoto. Makoto, do you really want to dive this? He definitely has the potential to kill when Sleight of Fist does land. He just needs to throw that Remnant in, but he doesn't want to dive that deep. He'll leave Moon be. So if there's anything going well for Fnatic, they are taking down objectives. That's going to be their second tier 1 tower going down up at the top lane, and meanwhile, in the mid lane, Boom, they just want to keep fighting. They don't care about objectives. It's FBZ. Going to have to run away from that skeleton army. And Fnatic, they will successfully defend the mid lane. And ultimately, forgetting about those kills, Fnatic, they're kind of finding more.
Yeah. They're just taking out those objectives, allowing them some leeway to farm up, so it's a bit harder for Boom to really exert control on the map right now. They do still hold on to their tier 1 mid. That's going to be very pivotal for Boom to keep this aggression up. You finally see a smoke coming out from Fnatic as well, so it's their turn to perhaps try hunting something out. It is just Moon and DJ, but that could be enough on the right target.
Yeah, the Void Spirit just dishes out so much damage so quickly. And Dreamer Soul would be a lovely one. They dust him up. He's not exactly the tankiest target, and they cogs him in. Dreamer Soul, he would trip the trade out using those stick charges, but should still be dead. However, he blinks to the neutrals, but he can't get the deny. Still, while that was happening, Savage ends up dying. Moon with the one to get that pick off, and now they found another Ice. He gets caught by the lasso. Great Pit of Malice, but there's nothing to follow up with. And Fnatic, they found an important kill, but they lost two very important kills on their own team.
I'm sure Boom is going to be happier with that trade than Fnatic is. They lost their 2 cores. They did find a Riki. That's great. But you lost your Morphling. That's a really the hero you want to save, and that's going to cost them.
Nice chains out from Makoto. Ice Blast as well, going to fly in. We'll connect onto Jabs, and Jabs is getting low, though Makoto can't really afford to finish that work off. That is an unfortunate position to put your Remnant as well, right in front of the 8th Remnant of Moon, but it does eventually wear off. Both teams going to back off for a bit, apart from Makoto and Moon, who are just going to man up in the mid lane.
Yeah, just a little bit more fighting around, but Boom does split up to eventually go back to farming. You take a look at Dreamocell, just about to finish up that defusal in a bit, like 1,100 gold away from getting that full item up. Once that's up, he's going to have a lot more damage to tear through that backline. It does feel somewhat lacking when his teammates aren't around, so they're just waiting for that to be up and running. You do see Mikado actually prioritize the Spirit Vessel in this game, so they want to slow down that regen, that durability that Fnatic naturally has. You see Ice is going to be a major factor in contributing to that, so just taking away some of the utility that you're seeing there, taking away some of that durability on Savage, will make it easier to find these targets, and it's already up and running with Kato, so they do look to try to find an early kill.
Yeah, now you've got that aura up, you still have the active as well, which is always nice. They'll claim the tier 1 bottom tower. They did have a siege creep after all, so it does definitely help as mid lane. FBZ gonna find Jabs on the Tinks again. They don't even need the lasso, they will just clumsy net. That'll be enough.
Yeah, it's not the biggest loss for Fnatic. They should know to pull back now. I mean, Boom is just continuously moving forward. There's no opportunity for them to counterfight just yet from Fnatic. They're just gonna have to accept that Boom is gonna run them down, find a pick off. They just need to mitigate their losses here, Fnatic, and focus on ensuring that their cores are finding farm, which they are. Savage is starting to drop off a bit. Gap between him and the Ember Spirit is starting to widen, but it's not to the point where you're kind of worried, although Boom is at a 2k lead. It's starting to get bigger.
And they're looking for more. Makoto gonna start moving forward again. Looks like they are gonna head down towards that bot lane where they will find Moon on the Void Spirit. How do they jump in though? You need Hyde, and Hyde hook shot, but it does not connect on Moon. Still, chains Makoto, no, he doesn't land them. And this could be bad for Boom, as Moon will chase after Hyde. Can they at least find the clockwork kill? They should be able to. Like, he'll have cogs in 5, but... Well, actually, Makoto's coming back in. He wants to delay this, and yeah, Chains comes out. He locks him in. Skeleton Army will be there onto Hyde, and Hyde will eventually go down. Now Makoto, he may have overstayed his welcome, but he does manage to find the Remnant before he does take too much damage. And you know what? That clockwork goes down, but Dream Missile, he finds a mid-tier 1 tower. In fact, Makoto ends up killing Jabs.
Ah.
And now Ice. And Lasso, they just... Alright. Fair enough.
Fnatic pouring in one by one for that mid defense. Being punished by being out of position. They gave a lot of kills away that they shouldn't have in that case. And that does widen Boom's lead to a good sturdy 3K. This is the point where you can say definitely Boom is ahead. They've managed to find some good towers. They're finding kills. They're going again.
Oh, Moon. He tried to TB, but Hyde was there with the hook shot, and Makoto gave vision. With that, Moon, Astral Steps, Hyde. You don't even need Hyde. Makoto finishes off with the Sleight of Fist. And you know what? This is the Boom Esports that needed to show up today, right? They're not playing the farm game with Fnatic. They're not trying to keep up in gold. They just want to run at you. They want to try and break the game of Dota. Right? Don't make it comfortable for Fnatic. Don't let them play their game.
Like Savage right now. It's gonna be troublesome.
Could be. I mean, they have 3 heroes there, but they're afraid of this position 4 clock, who just keeps going at them. They are coming as well. Makoto is right behind him, though. He should get blown up fairly quick, and Hyde does go down. They do get a nice support clock pick-off. The thing is, with that clock dying, like, you look across the map and everyone else on Boom is basically farming. Like, they're fine with this. You know, sometimes with these support pickoffs that teams get, the support's giving so much vision and information to the other cores in the team that it doesn't really matter if they die.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't. They have to blow a lot of spells to find those kills. That does allow Boom to keep going. Like, they find DJ now.
Lasso, gonna be there. DJ, gonna be a nice, easy Rubik pick. And, oh, the Ricky, I don't know about this one. Dream Missile trying to go in by himself up against Jabs and Moon. He is going to be able to blink out of there. But they are continuing the chase. He does blink the other way, but Savage is there. And Dream Missile may have gotten a little bit overly confident, assuming Moon was just by himself. That was not the case.
Yeah, that is a bit strange of a movement from Dream Missile, especially as the rest of his team was kind of trying to chase down Ice, who does manage to get the Dark Rift off. The Sori is quick-chatted, so he knows he kind of screwed up there. Still, Boom is at a 4K lead, although you see Savage pretty much tied up with that. He's still finding farm on the Morphling. The rest of his team is getting a bit of a hit in that word, but the key hero here, the Morphling, is finding that farm. You do have to wonder from Boom, are they doing enough to keep that Morphling in check? Do they have enough? They've got that Spirit Vessel. We haven't seen them land the Ice Blast from Kezcute all too often. But it does feel like Savage is still finding a bit too much from having all these kills, right? I think Fnatic is going to be perfectly happy with these kinds of trades as long as Savage is farming up, and he certainly is. He's 1-4, but number 2 in net worth. So all those early kills really hasn't mattered.
Yeah, he's a last hitting machine, Savage is. He just hits creeps. That's his job. And he does it very, very well. Boom, they're going to smoke up as 3 now. And they may have their smoke broken. Jabs, he was there to break it and hide. He has a dust in the backpack. He's going to run up to give vision again. Aether are not going to be there, but Makoto going to try and follow up. And they blow him up straight away. But the Ice Blast, it does connect onto Savage. It could be huge if they do manage to find the Morphling. But Savage is trying to fight back. Makoto, Remnants forward. Savage, he does die. And Ice now needs to make a run for it. Dark Rift is on cooldown for 5 seconds. He will not have time to use it, and now DJ, he'll be the next target on the Ricky. Dream Missile will take care of that. They want to go after Moon on the Void Spirit. That's the much bigger target, and the chains is there from Makoto. Do you have Lasso? Yes, they do. They waited that whole time for this moment, and they will find a 5th. It's going to be a full team wipe. for Boom Esports, my god, they're finding everything.
They definitely are. They're just maximizing that long range initiation they can get, all the control they have on hand. What? Okay.
Well,
What? 22-minute GG call from Fnatic. They're only 6k behind, but I guess they just want to reset. You know, they gave a bit too much. The aggression from Boom was looking good. They did have an answer to Morphling in that AA really early. Spirit Vessel, I can see the logic from that, but it is a really quick call from Fnatic.
I'd agree. I could see where I mean, I think we can both see where they're coming from.
Yeah.
Like, because they just had the counters. Like the AA Spirit Vessel, Makoto was on fire. Hyde was just, again, one of the better position 4 clocks I've seen in a very long time. Like, people again could make the argument like, oh, but he died in silly places a couple times. But he's giving so
And it's
much,
fine.
so much knowledge to his team, so much information. And Boom Esports, John, against all odds, nobody would have predicted this. But they do take game 1 up against Fnatic. I wonder, what are the odds that they could 2-0 Fnatic? What are you thinking?
I think if Fnatic draft this way in game number 2, and if Boom plays on point, because there are moments where they kind of play the slow game. As long as Boom plays this fast, as they love and as they know, then they can certainly take it. Fnatic, they've got to be careful with their drafts. They were having that unfavorable matchup from minute 0. Boom just constantly having the cards there to get the matchups they wanted, the lanes they wanted. They had the Batrider versus the Underlord for a very long time. Fnatic only switched out at very late point, and by then Jabs died too much. They gave way too many early kills. With Boom, while that didn't amount to a very big net worth lead, it did help Boom really build up there.
I mean, you look at the damage graphs as well. Makoto is well and truly ahead of everybody. He had 18,000 damage in a 22 minutes?
Yeah.
He had 10,000 more damage than anyone else on the map. That Ember was absolutely on fire. We will go to game 2 very soon. It's going to be about a 10-minute break. It is MLP johnxfire. We'll be back with you once that next draft is up and running.